Alright, we're going to recap Week 16. Let's see, we'll start with Dolphins at Bills. Bills beat the Dolphins 19-0. Ryan Tannehill, only 82 passing yards, and 53 went to Brian Hartline. Fred Jackson rushing for 111 yards and a touchdown, and Thad Lewis passing for 193. Bills traveling to New England to play the Patriots this Sunday. Panthers beat the Saints 17-13. Brees threw for 281 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown going to Jimmy Graham, who had 73 receiving yards on the day. But Cam Newton leading the Panthers down the final drive. He only threw for 181 yards, but he did throw for the game-winning touchdown. And DeAndre Williams did rush for 67 yards and 1 touchdown. Bengals beat the Vikings 42-14. Metcalf throwing 114 yards, 1 touchdown, did throw 3 interceptions. Cordarrelle Patterson on a 54-yard reverse and a touchdown. Andy Dalton 366 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. 2 of those went to A.J. Green, who also had 97 receiving yards. Broncos beat the Texans 37-13. Manning broke Tom Brady's passing touchdown record at 51, threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. Decker had 131 yards and 2 of those touchdowns. Titans beat the Jaguars 20-16. Fitzpatrick threw for 181 yards and 1 touchdown. Sean Green rushing for 91 yards and a touchdown, and Nate Washington catching that 1 touchdown along with 117 receiving yards. Colts beat the Chiefs 23-7. Andrew Luck throwing for 241 yards and 1 touchdown. Donald Brown rushing for 79 yards and a touchdown. The Chiefs' Jamal Charles rushing for 106 yards and 1 touchdown. Jets beat the Browns 24-13. Geno Smith throwing for 214 yards and 2 touchdowns. Scored again on the ground. Chris Ivory had 109 rushing yards. For the Cleveland Browns, Josh Gordon had 97 receiving yards. Rams beat the Bucks 23-13. Helen Clemens threw for 158 yards. Zach Stacy rushed for 104 and 1 touchdown. And Robert Quinn recorded 3 sacks. For the Bucks, Mike Glennon threw for 158 yards. Bobby Brady rushed for 37 yards and a touchdown. Cardinals beat the Seahawks 17-10. Russell Wilson threw for only 108 yards and 1 touchdown. Marshawn Lynch rushed for 71. With Cardinals, Carson Palmer threw for 178 yards and a touchdown, and Andre Ellington rushed for 64 yards. Giants beat the Lions 23-20. Matt Stafford throwing for 222 yards. Drake Bell running for 91 yards and a touchdown, and he also led the Lions in receiving yards with 63. For the Giants, Eli Manning throwing for 256 yards and a touchdown, and Gerard Jernigan getting that 1 touchdown. Patriots beat the Ravens 41-7. Tom Brady 172 passing yards and a touchdown, with Garrett Blount rushing for 76 yards and 2 touchdowns, and the only Raven touchdown coming a quarterback sneak by Joe Flacco. The Chargers, they beat the Raiders 26-13. Rivers throwing for just 201 yards and a touchdown. Ryan Matthews rushing for 99 and a touchdown. And for the Raiders, Rashad Jennings rushed for 45 yards and a touchdown. Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Packers 38-31. Big Ben, 167 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Le'Veon Bell rushing for 124 yards and a touchdown. And Antonio Brown going for 105 receiving yards and no touchdowns. For the Packers, Matt Flynn throwing for 232 yards and a touchdown, and Eddie Lacy rushing for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. Eagles beat the Bears 54-11. Nick Foles throwing for 230 yards and 2 touchdowns. LaShawn McCoy rushing 133 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Brent Selleck with 58 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Nick J. Cutler throwing for 222 yards and 1 touchdown. And last game of the week, Niners beat the Falcons 34-24. Matt Ryan throwing for 348 yards and 2 touchdowns. 141 of those yards and 1 of those touchdowns went to Roddy White. Kaepernick 197 yards and a touchdown. Frank Gore rushed for 97 yards and a touchdown. And then Michael Crabtree catching 102 of those yards. Now to the final week of the regular season. And we're going to start with, very first game, we're going to start with the Browns and Steelers. Browns coming into this game, they are 4-11. Steelers are 7-8. And the Cleveland Browns, They lost to the Steelers. They lost to the Steelers earlier this year, but Josh Gordon did put up 230 receiving yards in the process. Steelers coming off a pretty big win against Green Bay, even though Big Ben didn't have big passing numbers. Josh Gordon, he slowed down a bit last few weeks, only one touchdown past 2 weeks. Scored that one touchdown against the Bears 2 weeks ago. I think I'm going to take the Steelers in this one. They still have a chance to make the playoffs, and they're playing pretty good football. I take the Steelers in this one. Next game, Redskins at Giants. Redskins 3-12, Giants 6-9. Both eliminated in this ball game. Both eliminated from the playoffs. But the Giants, though, have been trying to play a little bit better. After getting shut out by the Seahawks, they put together a pretty good performance in overtime to beat the Detroit Lions. Redskins, though, coming off wasn't a terrible loss, but they did lose again, losing to the Atlanta Falcons, I believe. Hold on, sorry. And the Redskins losing to the Dallas Cowboys 24-23. So it wasn't a terrible loss, but another loss. Tony Romo being able to drive the Cowboys down in the final seconds to win the ball game. I'm going to take the Giants in this one. They beat the Redskins earlier this year on Sunday Night Football, and I think the same happens this week. Giants, despite the struggles this year, Eli Manning has done a pretty good job in the last few weeks, and Andre Brown has definitely been a key cog in the ground game. Taking the Giants in this one. Bengals versus Ravens. Bengals 10-5, Ravens 8-7. Bengals now division champions, and Joe Flacco coming off a pretty bad game. Still has the brace, and according to the Ravens sources, he will play this week with a brace. For the Bengals, coming off a big offensive performance, Gio Bernard doing his thing, Andy Dalton and A.J. Green connecting for a couple of touchdowns. But take the Bengals in this one. They're just playing too good. They're playing too good about getting a bunch of football right here. And also the 10th ranked offense. Ravens are the 29th ranked offense. I just don't see the Ravens putting up enough points to keep up with the Bengals. See, Texans at Titans. Texans 2-13, Titans 6-9. Both eliminated from the playoffs, but we will see some very interesting young receivers. Titans, Kendall Wright, and for the Texans, DeAndre Hopkins. Titans had a win last week, whereas the Texans were blown out of the house. I'm going to take the Titans in this one. They're playing good football. They've been playing good football all year, even though it hasn't quite translated to a lot of victories. They're playing good, solid defense, or the 15th ranked defense. Texans, though, their defense is 7th ranked, but the offense has plagued them time and time again. Take the Titans in this one, and they finish out the season strong. Next game, Jaguars at Colts. Jaguars 4-11, Colts 10-5. Colts giving it to the Chiefs last week. All three phases: offense, defense, and special teams. And of course, 3 turnovers, something the Chiefs normally don't do. The Jaguars, they got beat in their own house in Brad Meester's last home game. This 33-year-old center, he's been playing since 2002. He will retire this offseason, so a lot of Jaguar fans will be missing their mainstay along the offensive line. Anyway, back to the game. 31st ranked offense for the Jaguars, 27th ranked defense. Colts 17th ranked offense, 19th ranked defense. Well, Colts have not been great this year. They've done enough to win some games. I'm going to go and take the Colts in this one. The Jaguars just aren't doing enough to get any type of wins. And while they've been playing with heart the last few weeks, the Colts just found ways to get it done. Take the Colts in this one. Next one, Jets at Dolphins. Jets 7-8, Dolphins 8-7. Dolphins in the thick of it for the final seed. Jets have been eliminated, but the Dolphins do boast Actually, the Jets do boast the 11th ranked defense, and the way Tannehill's been getting sacked, I think the Jets get pressure on Ryan Tannehill. I'm actually going to take the Jets in this one. They're going to finish 8-8. The Jets, they've been playing. I think Geno Smith has found his way along in this offense, and the defense has definitely stepped it up last few weeks. They should really just shut down Josh Gordon all around. Safeties, cornerbacks, they did a great job keeping the Browns out of the end zone, and they really just gave Geno Smith a lot of short field. I'm taking the Jets in this one in a pretty big upset, saying nobody's taking the Jets seriously this year. I think the Jets get the win against Miami. Let's see, Lions at Vikings. Lions 7-8, Vikings 4-10-1. Both teams have been eliminated after both of them lost last week. Pretty disappointing season for both teams, even though the Lions did start out 6-2. For the Vikings, they started out losers and they're going to finish as losers. But the Minnesota Vikings, they've definitely played with some heart the last few weeks, even though they have the 31st ranked defense. The offense led by Matt Castle past few weeks has been on and off, but rookie star Cordell Patterson has definitely been a nice addition. Scored a 54-yard rushing touchdown last week against the Bengals on reverse, so the Vikings know at least they have that going for them. I'm going to go ahead and probably going to take the Detroit Lions in this one. Well, they've struggled this year. They stopped Calvin, Reggie Bush, Matt Stafford. I think they'll do enough to beat the Vikings. Although one note though, Matt Castle's on and off. So he had an off week last week. His record shows that this will probably be his on week. And with the way the Lions struggle against the run and pass, he might be able to find some room against his Lion defense. So I'm going to take the Lions in this one. Panthers at Falcons. There will not be any Steve Smith this week, but Panthers 11-4, Falcons 4-11. Panthers currently the second seed after they beat the Saints last week. I'm going to take the Saints, and take the Panthers in this one. They're just playing too good football right now. They're offensively, defensively. Luke Kuechly of 120 tackles. He looks to be the defensive player of the year leader, along with Vontaze Burfict, Richard Sherman. Falcons, they've done some nice things this year, but after they got beat against San Francisco, and they struggled though, even though they put up a lot of yards, Matt Brown thrown for 348, they struggled to get into the end zone. With the Panther defense that keeps teams out of the end zone, I don't see the Falcons doing enough to get this win. Taking the Panthers in this one. Coming up on the 4:25 games, Bucks at Saints. Buccaneers 4-11, Saints 10-5. Saints coming off a loss. Buccaneers also coming off a loss. Saints have struggled the past few weeks, but unfortunately for them, they are at home this week, so that should mean a win for the that should be a win for the New Orleans Saints. They will have to deal with the 13th ranked Buccaneer defense, which has definitely played well the last few weeks, despite the offense slowing down a bit after they started so strong. Saints are back at home. They should have the offense and the defense back to the level that they normally play at. Jimmy Graham, he should catch at least 1 or 2 touchdowns. He's at 15 on the year, and Rob Gronkowski's tight end record is 17. So the Saints might try to target him in the red zone early and often, try to break the record. I'm taking the Saints in this one. Rams at Seahawks. Seahawks losing at home for the first time in 14 weeks. Rams 7-8, Seahawks 12-3. And while the Seahawks are clearly the better team, the Rams have historically given the Seahawks trouble in Seattle, so I'm actually going to take the Seahawks. I think it's going to be a close game. I think the Rams defense, led by Robert Quinn, Chris Long, James Laurinaitis, Alec Ogletree, I think these guys are going to give the Seahawks offense a run for their money. I think this will be a tight game. Ultimately, we're going to see the Seahawks winning. They have a lot more offense than St. Louis does, while the Rams have a good defense, which is hopefully top 5, top 10. They just will not be able to score enough points. Whereas we know the Seahawks, at times they can put up a lot of points on you. Taking the Seahawks in this one. Packers at Bears. Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be back in a game that could possibly decide the NFC North. Packers 7-1. Bears 8-7. Bears getting the spit beaten out of them last week. Even without Aaron Rodgers, the Packers are still the 4th ranked offense, and they have the 7th ranked run defense, whereas the Bears, they have the 29th ranked overall defense. So Aaron Rodgers, now he's going to have Packers, Jordy Nelson, James Jones, Michael Finley, they're going to have him back. And last time these two teams met, Shane McCollum took Aaron Rodgers' collarbone out on a sack. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Bears game plan for Aaron Rodgers-led Packers, and how the Packers decide to bring Aaron Rodgers back in after weeks of sitting on the bench. We should Eddie Lacy, who's over 1,000 yards on the year. Do know he'll be a key factor. 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns on the year. Had a really tremendous season. I'm gonna go ahead and take the Bears in this one. Or having Aaron Rodgers back will be a key factor. The Bear offense, though, has potential to be very potent, and I think this is the week that they strike. The Packers secondary has struggled the last few weeks defending the pass. Prime example against Dallas 2 weeks ago, got down 23-6. Tony Romo found some easy passing lanes, and DeMarco Murray ran wild. I think Forte does the same, taking the Bears in this one. Niners at Cardinals. Niners 11-4. Cardinals 10-5. Both teams still fighting for that 6th seed in the NFC. Actually, both teams still fighting for either the 5th and 6th seed in the NFC West. Cardinals coming off a pretty distant upset win, and the Niners, their final game at Candlestick Park, they got a big win over the Falcons. Both Cardinals offense ranked 21st, Niners offense ranked 24th, so it should be much game of offenses, but the Cardinals 6th defense, rated defense, and the Niners 3rd rated defense, to see a lot less points, a lot more sacks. I think it's gonna be a tight game, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say that the Cardinals win this one. Their team is just playing hot right now, and they just got to boost the confidence after going into Seattle and beating the Seattle Seahawks. Take the Cardinals in this one, and we're down we're almost done previewing these games. Got Broncos at Raiders. Peyton Manning broke the record. Broncos are also 18 points away from tying the Patriots single-season record, 589 points. So definitely going to be a record watch. But actually, they're 18 points away from breaking it, 17 points from tying it, 18, and they'll break it with 590. They've just done a tremendous job on offense all year. #1 rated offense. Although don't sleep on the Raiders, at the 18th ranked defense and the 18th rated offense, so they can be very deadly at times. I think there's going to be a shootout. Bronco defense, 22nd ranked. They struggle against the run, 14th ranked, whereas the Raiders do a pretty good job. They're 8th. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think Manning, he does go ahead and break Drew Brees' record, and I think he adds to his current touchdown total of 51 in his MVP caliber season. But I do think the Raiders do put up some points on the Broncos, but not enough to get the win, taking the Broncos in this one. Chiefs at Chargers. Chiefs 11-4, Chargers 8-7. Chiefs coming off a loss at Arrowhead. Dwayne Bowe, who does have an injury, he's got a concussion, although he might be able to play. Not really sure. The report just came out this afternoon around 5 or 6 o'clock, so we're still waiting to see if he's going to be able to play this week. Chiefs, they can't go any higher or any lower right now. They're 5th seed at the 5th seed, so they might sit the starters. We're not really sure. It's kind of hard to project what's going to happen in this game if the starters play, or say Eddie Reed sits Alex Smith, Jamal Charles, and we see more Chase Daniel and Niall Davis. Because it's getting so hard to predict, I'm going to go and take the Chargers in this one. While think the Chiefs might be able to pull off the win. This is going to be so hard to predict. If the Chiefs starters play, I think the Chiefs win. But if the assistant starters, if the starters only play part of the game, kind of like a preseason game, take the Chargers in this one. Phillip Rivers having a career year. Keenan Allen, Ryan Matthews both helping him out. And Antonio Gates, he has not slowed down. He's still producing at a high level. So we'll see if the Chiefs decide to sit the starters or start them. And last of two games, Eagles at Cowboys. This is going to be the game for the NFC East. Eagles 9-6, Cowboys 8-7. Eagle offense second in the league. That spread option of Chip Kelly, led by Nick Foles, and backfield mate LaShawn McCoy, they've just been deadly. 54 points on the Bears defense. Both LaShawn McCoy and Bryce Brown had over 110 rushing yards, and both had at least one rushing touchdown. Taking the Eagles in this one, while the Cowboys beat them earlier in the year 17-3. That was also with Michael Vick and Matt Barkley. This is going to be the monster that is Nick Foles. I'm going to go ahead and take Eagles in this one. And if Romo's not able to play, I think the Eagles could easily clinch the NFC East and get themselves into the playoffs for the first time since 2010. Chip Kelly's done a wonderful job with his team, with his offense, and even with the lackluster defense, they are in their destiny is in their hands. All they gotta do is win. They got the division, which means in the NFL, you win the division, you're in. And final game, we're going to recap. We're going to preview, Patriots and the Bills. Patriots 11-4, Bills 6-9. Patriots coming off a big win. Buffalo coming off a shutout, although their defense really just dominated the Dolphins. 7 sacks with Tannehill. Their total is 56 on the year. They've just been tremendous at getting to the quarterback. They have the number 8 ranked defense. A lot of that has to do with their pass rush. Patriots 7th ranked offense, 25th ranked defense. So we're definitely going to have to see whether the Patriots can hold off the Buffalo Bill pass rush. And actually we're going to talk, and actually to close out the preview, we're actually going to talk to a Patriots fan. This is a Patriots fan, Darrea, the National American Miss 2013 Preteen Art Contest winner. We're going to talk to her and ask her thoughts on the Patriots game against the Buffalo Bills this week. And she's going to actually come over right now.
Hello.
Hi, Darrea.
Hi.
So I'm going to ask you some questions about this Patriots game. The Buffalo Bills defense, they have 56 sacks in the year. Mario Williams, the star defensive end, he's got 14 sacks. Do you think the Patriots will be able to hold him off Tom Brady on Sunday?
Well, it just depends on their performance. Every week it's different. They just have to play their A game. They have to just play their best.
Do you think the Bills defense will be able to keep Tom Brady from scoring, considering they have so much star power on the defensive side of the field?
It just depends on how each position plays. Our wide receivers just have to really step up in order to make sure that they complete their passes.
Do you think the running game is going to be a factor in this game if the Buffalo Bill pass rush and the Buffalo Bill defense can shut down the running game?
Absolutely.
Do you think the Patriots will be able to run on the Buffalo Bills?
It really just depends. Any game, any given Sunday.
Okay, definitely going to be, might be a little bit of a struggle. Patriots going back and forth with the running backs. Do you think Stephen really gets a start this week after all his fumbling problems?
Not too sure, but I think you should definitely give him a shot.
To give him a shot? Did you like LeGarrette Blount's performance last week in the place of Ridley?
I was actually quite surprised. He did a really good job.
Really good job. And final question, what is your prediction for this game?
I think the Patriots will pull it out. I think it's going to be a messy game since we always have trouble with the Bills. We have trouble with all our division rivals, and I think we're going to pull out maybe by 3 or 4 points.
And just another question, who has more passing yards, Tom Brady or E.J. Manuel of the Buffalo Bills?
I believe it's Tom Brady.
Alright, and who has more rushing yards, Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller of the Bills, or LeGarrette Blount and Stephen Ridley of the Patriots?
C.J. Spiller and the Bills.
I think their running game's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the Patriot run defense is going to be able to stop them, even though they struggled so much this year stopping the run.
Yes.
Okay, so Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller, according to this Patriots fan, might have some open holes. I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. While their run defense has struggled, Tom Brady and the Patriots, they found their rhythm. I don't see the Bills putting up enough points. I think the Buffalo Bills pass rush might be a key factor in this game. But as long as the Patriots protect their quarterback, we saw Logan Mankins do a tremendous job last week against Terrell Suggs, kept him sackless. I think they should be able to, and if Soder's able to play this week, that would be a definite bonus for the Patriots. I gotta take the Patriots in this one. And we're actually going to ask our Patriots fans just a few more questions. Who do you have winning? We're going to start out with the very first game. Who do you have winning, Chiefs or Chargers?
I would say the Chargers.
Okay, take the Chargers in that one. Who do you have winning, Ravens or Bengals?
Bengals.
All right. Texans or Titans?
They gotta take the Titans.
Take the Titans? All right. Jaguars, Colts?
Really, it's the Colts.
Okay. Jets, Dolphins?
Taking the Jets.
Taking the Jets now? Some of these picks line up with mine. Taking the Jets in this one. Lions, Vikings?
Lions.
Lions in this one. Panthers, Falcons?
Panthers.
And Saints, Bucks? The Saints are at home.
Yeah. Take the Bucks.
Taking the Buccaneers over the Saints,
Yeah.
and the Saints are at home. That is definitely upset. We'll keep an eye on that one.
Since the Saints lost to the Rams,
Of course.
there's a really big possibility. I think they'll lose to the Buccaneers.
Seahawks, Rams?
Seahawks.
Packers, Bears?
Big factor that Aaron Rodgers is back. So I guess I'll give the Packers a shot.
Alright. And Niners, Cardinals?
Niners.
Broncos, Raiders?
I really want the Raiders to win, but most likely it's going to be the Broncos.
And Eagles, Cowboys?
Eagles.
Alright, so there you have it, my predictions. This Patriot fan Darius predictions. We're going to see you guys later on next week for our recap of this week's games. Hope you enjoy. I'm Devereaux Frazier. This is Darrea, our big old Patriots fan here. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.